I put a bunch of thought in this, and I've done some webinars. And actually, I had a conversation, several things. Talked to Will Reynolds about this, mutual friend. We all know Will. He said that Google will keep the links in SGE to reduce liability because they don't want someone to do something and say that Google told them to do it. It's like a disclaimer. Interesting idea. Another idea, I agree completely. If you use a tool and that tool has instant, powerful utility and it was a clean, simple experience, that you're more likely to use it again. That is basically the case against using Google at all. And I predict that ChatGPT will gradually supplant a lot of the things that we were using Google for, because it's just a far, far better experience. I predict a decline in the use of browsers because the AI apps.
Wait, Andy, I'm sorry. You think that people are going to use Google less in the future and ChatGPT more to answer
information intent, what are currently information intent queries? Because the experience, the browser-based mobile experience for how old is Tom Cruise or a million other things is mostly pretty negative. Like, let's say I use like this example.
I think I'm willing to put a bet on that with you. I'm going to bet against that. I'll put let's say $100. 5 years from now, I think that ChatGPT will replace less than 10% of all Google search.
I'll take that bet. I love it. This will be fun. Mark the date. We're going to talk in 2028.
Here's the challenge where I'm with you.
Wait, Chris. Whose bet are you taking? Which side of the bet are you taking?
Here's the reason why where the factor that I think that Andy's getting at is that what we know about Siri is a really crappy model, but I use something called Pi that's already connected to the internet. It's creepy as hell, but you get very quick answers with zero commercials.
Yeah.
And my point is that the ubiquity of how Siri 2.0 will be, it's gonna take a big bite out of search, and that's just I don't know, but I want to be wrong. I sell search. I'd love to be wrong.
I'm a lifetime SEO. This is the case. This is the case against browsers and search and using web pages to get information. It's not a good experience. The average web page weighs a megabyte. To get to it, you've got to wade through a whole bunch of SERP features. When you land on the page, you have to accept cookies and decline notifications, and you get a pop-up window, and you want to block the what's my location. It's a noisy, messy place. And when you start to use ChatGPT's app to get basic information, how do you make guacamole? I want 10 lines of text. I didn't want to visit a site, see a story about your grandma, and be retargeted for 2 months. It's a mess. The internet is kind of a mess. The mobile experience for information intent use is not good generally. And yeah, all of us are going to feel that. Like, you take out your phone because you want an answer, and you're going to gradually more and more go to ChatGPT, not just because it's going to find you the answer, but a lot of the things that we search for, we actually have a little plan, and there's a next step, and it can take that next step, which search can't do. Search can only retrieve information. Generative AI can actually write the birthday card or whatever the thing. Like, that's a cheeseball example, but there's millions of them. So that's a big factor in it. I think that Google's at risk, I think, partly for this reason. But bottom line, and this is back to what you said earlier, Rand, and as we come here to the end, but we've all said that there's 3 types of visitor intent: know, do, go, information intent, commercial intent, navigation intent, build a brand, right? That's where you're safe. Chris yesterday in his presentation said, look at the amount of traffic you get from non-branded queries, all of that's at risk. I think now we need to separate out 2 types of intent. Does that visitor have visit website intent or get information without visiting a website intent? Only a subset of phrases and queries have visit website intent. But I think a fair number of commercial intent queries actually do. The person wants to do research. It's a big decision. I need an audience intelligence tool. I want to look at some websites. I want to see the options. I want to read some reviews. I think that information intent queries are almost all at risk, but that there's a bunch of commercial intent queries for which there still is, and maybe I'm biased, I make my living building websites. There's definitely a lot of interest in visiting websites to get more information because you're in deep commercial intent kind of research mode. Nobody hires a web development company without looking at a portfolio and like checking out a bunch of examples. So yeah, I think we all need to begin to, in the era of SGE and AI more broadly, look at a key phrase and ask, is that a visit website intent query? My thought so far. Poorly formed thought. It'll evolve. Ask me again in 2 months.
I see where you're going. I'm skeptical. Like, I'm not You have not sold me, but I bet you've sold a lot of listeners. And I look forward. I would look forward to completing this bet. I think I'm on the verge of winning my bet with Dharmesh from
Oh, really?
maybe 4 years ago.
$100 is fun. How about this? I'll grow a beard and dye it to look like yours if I lose this bet.
But in reverse. In reverse, I want you to go. Dark hair.
And I'll say, Will, it is dyed.
The white bridge.
No. Here's what we're gonna do. Will does his annual sleep out for homeless youth in Philadelphia, which is an amazing product. How about the loser is going to donate $100. Sorry, the loser is going to donate $500, and the winner is going to donate $100.
Okay, sounds great. Pick a cause. I'm on board with all this. I mean, I don't know what $500 will be worth in 5 years. It might not be.
Oh no.
But no. If you want to shorten the window and pick a different bet, and you and I can kind of go public with this.
It's 5 years.
Okay.
So,
if Google,
my contention would be basically that the search generative experience uses something that almost every human on earth is already used to doing on the internet, which is going to Google and typing in things. And Google has trained us so well, including upcoming generations, that the idea of going to ChatGPT, learning a new interface, having sort of text responses in a different format, that it will be too unfamiliar. It's like trying to sell...
unfamiliar? It looks just like your text messages. It's text. It's so familiar. That's my case.
Hey, man. Look, I'm going to tell you right now, Mastodon is a better product in every single way than Twitter.
I see what you're saying.
On 100 vectors, and it is incredibly easy to sign up, but it has a little slight learning curve, like the slightest learning curve you can imagine, right? And no one is moving over, even though 60% of Twitter users despise Elon, hate the platform, would be happier on Mastodon, but they just can't. Changing a habit.
I know it.
Nah.
Yep. This is. I'll make the case for the historic reference. They made a little box and a button that when you push it takes you to any floor in a building, called an elevator. But they had an elevator operator sit in that little box for 10 years because people just weren't comfortable with it.
They still have them sitting in there in a bunch of places in New York.
Yeah.